Good morning. You're all doing wonderful today. I'm just going to go in today. Sorry, I hate when I do that. So I want to start, I just want to ask, have you ever read through the Old Testament and just felt like there's this disconnect between offerings in the Old Testament and offerings today? I mean, doesn't it feel like the Israelites offered so much more than what we offered? I mean, granted, there's the whole sin acts offering and all these other things, but just in the tithe alone, and just thanks offerings and things like that. Don't you ever feel like offerings in the Old Testament completely outweigh offerings here? I mean, you think about they would bring sacrificial offerings in the forms of goats, sheep, bulls, and so on. These offerings would come for everything, from festivals to baby dedications to sin offerings, just because. Why don't we do this anymore? Before I keep going, can you turn me down just a little bit? I can hear a little ringing there. Is that good? Yeah, thank you. Are we offering less to God than the Old Testament Jews had in previous generations? To be honest, sometimes I have to think I'm glad I'm not an Old Testament Jew, because it just seems so hard. So much requirements, so much to do. There's too much sacrifices and offerings. It would be too difficult. Now, I know that part of the reason we don't sacrifice anymore is because Jesus is the sacrificial lamb. Okay? He's the once and for all sacrifice for sin. But not all the Old Testament offerings were about sin. In fact, I'd say most were not about sin. There's a good number of offerings that had nothing to do with sin. If you were to tithe in a culture that relied almost entirely upon bartering, agriculture, and livestock, then wouldn't it make sense that what you would offer as a sacrifice would be different than what we offer today? I imagine offerings in the Old Testament will be much closer to my experience with offerings in the village in Uganda. You give what you have. You have no money, but you have a chicken. So you offer eggs. Yes, I have seen eggs in the offering plate. I don't think we would know what to do if someone put an egg in the offering plate. I mean, say for example, I know Walt works a lot with woodworking. What would happen if Walt started putting little cups and bowls in the offering plate? Because that's what he has to offer. We wouldn't know what to do with that. I've seen beans and even milk put in the offering plate. I read a story the other day where a homeless man went to church and he had nothing to offer in the offering plate, so he gave the one thing he had, which was a pack of cigarettes. And he put the pack of cigarettes in the offering plate because there was nothing else on his physical being to offer. I think we oftentimes disconnect from the offerings of the Old Testament from what we should be offering today. I think we need to bring a broader view of what it is into our lives. Think, for example, of Jesus is telling the widow's mite. The offering was never about quantity. It was never about content. But it was about sacrifice. It was about giving back to God the blessing given to us. This is what Israel missed. They weren't giving so that they could thank God, or that they could give back to Him. They were giving because they had to. They were giving so that God wouldn't punish them. They were giving so that they wouldn't be occupied by some other foreign nation. They were offering out of status so that they wouldn't be cast out. Offering is about relationship with God. It's about, as we talk about in Haggai, giving what we are able. It's not resigned simply to things, but rather it includes, in fact, I would say rather should be dominated by lifestyle and giving of time, service, and quality. Now, before you get too off here, we're not talking about what goes into the offering plate today. We're talking about offering as a Christian, which doesn't mean just that. I mean, it can be translated into that sometimes, but we're talking about outside of these walls today. So, if you'll turn to me, we're going to read Malachi chapter 1. I know it's going to be difficult to find. It's the last book in the Bible. So if you can find it's the last book in the Old Testament. If you can find Matthew, and you can find Malachi, just go one to the left. We're going to read Malachi chapter 1. Is this one? Yes. Malachi chapter 1, verse 6 through 14. Malachi chapter 1, verse 6 through 14. It says, a son honors his father, and a servant his master. If then I am a father, where is my honor? And if I am a master, where is my fear? Says the Lord of hosts to you. O priests who despise my name. But you say, how do you despise your name? By offering polluted food upon my altar. But you say, how have we polluted you? By saying that the Lord's table may be despised. When you offer blind animals in sacrifice, is that not evil? And when you offer those that are lame or sick, is that not evil? Present that to your governor. Will he accept you or show you favor? Says the Lord of hosts. And now entreat the favor of God, that he may be gracious to us. With such a gift from your hand, will he show favor to any of you? Says the Lord of hosts. Oh, that there were one among you who would shut the doors, that you might not kindle fire on my altar in vain. I have no pleasure in you, says the Lord of hosts, and I will not accept an offering from your hand. For from the rising of the sun to its setting, my name will be great among the nations. And in every place incense will be offered to my name, and a pure offering. For my name will be great among the nations, says the Lord of hosts. But you profane it when you say that the Lord's table is polluted, and its fruit, that is, its food, may be despised. But you say, what a weariness this is! And you snorted it, says the Lord of hosts. You bring what has been taken by violence, or is it lame or sick, and this you bring as your offering? Shall I accept that from your hand? Says the Lord. Cursed be the chief, who has a male in his flock and vows it, and yet sacrifices to the Lord what is blemished. For I am a great king, says the Lord of hosts, and my name will be feared among the nations. So what was wrong with the offerings of the Jews? They were deformed, worthless offerings. Malachi says these offerings would not even be acceptable to their governors or prefects. So why would you present something that's not even acceptable to your governor, to your God? Why would you present something that's not even acceptable to your governor, to your stronghold, to your refuge, to your provider? They would never offer such a thing to them. So why would they ever offer this to their God? In doing this, in offering lame, sick, blind, and sometimes even stolen sacrifices, they were mocking the Lord. Can you imagine that for a second? Now imagine. You just go and you're walking down the road and you see some old lady with a purse. You know she can't fight you back. So you take her purse, and then you take the money from her purse and bring it to church and stick it in the offering plate. Is that a contradiction or what? Because that's exactly what Malachi was saying. He's saying these offerings were taken by violence. They were stolen. And then they're being offered. If there's any contradiction there, I mean, that's a pretty clear contradiction. They were saying that God was not good enough. That he deserved less than the rulers of this world. Imagine for a profound moment. Somehow, you managed to get Jesus and Barack Obama to both come over to your house for dinner one night. You present to Obama some fresh apple cider produced from the apples in your backyard. You just pressed them. You're so proud of it. But that was all of it. Then you look to Jesus and say, well, it was really hard to make that. So there's a hose out back. Go help yourself. Now this is unthinkable to most of us, right? How would we ever do that? But for some reason I don't see it as so unthinkable. It's unthinkable because in this instance we're looking at Jesus eye to eye. But it's not so unthinkable when we're living our lives. Skirting God at the offering, giving him the less than while we give somebody else the better stuff. See, just like the Israelites, we think unconsciously, well, God is not really here, so he won't notice the difference. I won't have to look him in the eye when I give him the lesser of the two.